This is where we hold them! This is where we fight! This is where they die!
Good evening, this is Sniper Skills over from 302, the Spar Alliance, and today I have a couple things that I'm going to cover in this little tutorial. There's been a couple other creators, content creators, that have kind of covered this a little bit. They've touched on it, number one being Harley Quinn over from TOA, which is good content. If you all have not checked out his channel, I suggest you do so. He does upload some great things, but this was kind of break down more in depth about what he was kind of talking about on the armaments and honing, and why you should do specific hones and have specific armaments for specific heroes. And the reason why I'm going to cover this today is because even in my own alliance, when I'm trying to help people get stronger, get better, become better fighters, I always look at their heroes and I see that, they're either using the wrong armaments or the wrong hones for said armaments, and they don't really realize how much they're actually leaving on the table here. Harley brought up a good thing about the hones where he had the wrong hones on a certain hero, and he's basically leaving 1/3 of the amount of damage or defense that he could actually do with a particular hero, and it's not beneficial. So today's topic, I want to be covering riders, and I will do other videos for range and also infantry. Some of this will include some of the leader heroes, because there's some things about the leader heroes that can benefit the main troop heroes like riders and range and infantry. But today I'm just going to cover riders, and so yeah, let's just jump right into it. So most of you guys know that we all have heroes, and I'm just going to apologize real quick because not all of my heroes are 100% and upgraded, but for training purposes only, I will cover what I have equipped on my heroes, and the armaments that I don't have equipped, I will go into my bag and pull them up from here and show you guys the other armaments that are available, as far as the superb armaments and legendary armaments. I don't know if I'm going to be so much talking on elite, because I'm not even going to be really going into the elite heroes today. I'm just basically staying with the legendary heroes. So first and foremost, let's just jump right into it. Okay, so most of you guys know that our heroes have specific skills, obviously, here that we upgrade all the way to the awakened state. Elena, Bella, Chasey, they all have specific skills that we upgrade, and a lot of people just upgrade these skills, then they come in here and they throw armaments on their heroes, and they don't really pay attention about what their heroes provide as far as skill assets. And when you add an armament to a hero that doesn't boost your hero's main skills, it's really not doing them much good. Yeah, you get some increase and maybe some counter damage, or squad damage, or squad counter damage, but if your hero is really not skilled for that particular skill with your honing for, then you're just basically increasing it from 0, let's just say. So you're adding a percentage to it, so you're really not gaining a whole lot of damage or defense based on if something is not skilled directly for your hero. Let's take, for example, Elena. Let's just start with Elena, and the reason why I'm going to start here is because she's actually my strongest hero. I actually run her and Felix together, which is a really good combo, right? So let's just get into her real quick. We have Elena. So her first skill, okay, she deals damage to target every second for 3 seconds. If the target is flanked, the damage received by the target will increase by 5,950 for every second. So we can see here she does direct damage. So This is not a basic damage. This is the direct damage done by the hero based on her rage skill when she procs her skill. This is the damage that she's going to do as a hero. This is not directly involving your basic attack damage or your rider squad attack damage. Okay, this is, like I said, this is strictly the hero damage. Alright, so let's move on to the second skill. Now, as we go on, we see when receiving AoE damage, there's a 90% chance of reducing damage received by 40%. This effect can be triggered up at most every 6 seconds. So we see here we have a damage in skill damage. Now, it didn't add that in the description, saying that it was a reduction of skill damage, but if we look down, we see that the damage reduction is actually skill damage, okay? So we have a reduction in skill damage, and there's a 90% chance, so that could be something that you could utilize in a defensive mechanism as far as Elena, because she is more of a defensive style hero. Third skill, increase rider squad defense by 30%, and increase all damage dealt to flanked targets by 13%. Okay, so right here, this is the very first skill. This is the basic average skill that we see of most heroes that we have. It's either going to be rider squad attack or rider squad defense. Same thing goes for range and infantry. So in this case, she has an increase in rider squad defense. We can see that. All right. The fourth skill, increase basic attack damage by 30%. When rage is above 50%, basic attack damage increases by 53%. Now, this is very important. A lot of people get this misconstrued as far as basic attack damage and rider squad attack. Okay, rider squad attack increases the damage done by your rider squad attack. Now, the rider squad basic attack damage percentage increases the overall percentage, right, that you can do, which also interacts with rider squad attack. So having both is really good. You want to increase the actual percentage that you have, that you're putting out, and that's increased from buffs, research, and stuff like that from your rider squads. So how do you know this? How do you find this out? So we want to come here. Let's go check out our buffs here. We're going to go here, and then we'll scroll down to rider squad attack. Yeah, where is it? Okay, rider squad attack. So we have a 236%, 0.5% rider squad attack. Okay, that's an overall buff, right? That's the overall percentages of what they're doing. Now, we know that's the baseline. We want to come back here, okay? And how do we know what Elena's rider squad attack percentage is? Like, with the buff and all of her stuff. So let's do this. I'm going to show you. Don't pay no attention to any of this over here on the side. That's all for adventure. So how are we going to find out what the overall is? You know what? I need to recall a squad too. So let me just pull back one of my farms here. Let's see. Let me just share that in here so I can come back to it later. And once this farmer returns, I will show you how to see the actual rider squad attack percentage that you're actually getting, okay? And this is very intriguing. A lot of people miss this. They see the buff percentage, or they see the battle reports, and maybe the battle reports, like the buff report in the battle report, and they see that. But here's another little thing that you can do. So if you want to come over here, you want to create March. Let's go ahead and create a squad. Okay, so obviously Elena was the first one that come up. So let's remove Chasey from this picture. Okay, so we saw her armaments. We haven't dug into them yet because I'm going to show you. But we saw her. She's fully armed. She's like 3.7 million might. But you see these little 3 dots right down here at the bottom of the screen. You see that? I'm clicking that. All right, so here we go. Now, Chasey has a rider squad attack by herself of 320%. Remember a while ago we saw the buff was 256%. I think it was 200. Let me just be accurate about that. 200 attack infantry 236%. That's the base rider squad attack, and then we come over here. Now we create go back, and Elena's rider squad attack, including the buffs that you have, is 320%. Now, how do we get this number? That's based off the armaments that she has equipped and everything else. So we have this percentage, which calculates in your rider squad attack, which increases your damage, right? It shows the amount of rider squad attack damage that you're going to do, right? But there's also that base number percentage that you have, right? So if we increase the rider squad attack, or the basic attack damage, we're actually going to do more damage. So it doesn't hurt to have the basic attack damage in conjunction with rider squad attack. It's going to increase your overall damage output that you're going to be doing to any squad that you encounter. So let's jump into her armaments. Now we know, as looking here, Elena was a basic attack damage person, and she was also rider squad attack in her skills. So let's go look and see what I got going on here. Now I have a counter damage reduction. Okay, that's not bad because the only other helmet that they have is a rider squad defense. Okay, same thing applies. So I have the counter damage one because counter damage activate after basic attacks. Okay, so basic attacks are going to do it, then counter damage is going to hit you. Now if you're fighting a counter damage hero, which is usually riders are more sensitive to infantry, right? Infantry heroes do have a lot of counter damage, like Eddie and Stella. They do massive amounts of counter damage. Okay, so if you encounter that, that's going to reduce the overall counter damage by 7.5% that you're going to receive from this particular hero. So if you know your weaknesses and you try to take your weaknesses and make it a strength. All right, so I have counter damage in her, obviously rider squad block, because that's going to deflect the amount of damage that you're receiving. It's also going to reduce the amount of heavily wounded that you have. And if you look at the particular hones here, I went with rider squad lethality, rider squad defense, and lethality, and never mind the purple ones because I have not finished upgrading her and honing her yet. So she will be stronger, but right now I just got what I can get because I only really hone during TC because I need the red hones, or the red vials for the red hones. So anywho, let's move on. Okay, what we have here is the bonded windbreaker. The bonded windbreaker. Okay, this is a basic attack damage taken. So therefore I'm also removing the percentage of basic attack from whoever I'm fighting, right? So, and including in conjunction with my rider squad defense. So basically saying if the rider squad that I'm fighting is like 100% attack, I'm taking 9% from that. So that's nearly 10%. So their attack damage percentage is reduced to 91% on top of my rider squad defense, which is going to give me some extra defense on the backside of that. So the Uzi subgun. Okay, so this obviously is directly for her rider squad attack skill because it's pretty basic in general through most of every hero. So I'm going to increase her rider squad attack by 9%. Okay, it's also in her skill because remember, if we go back and look, she has rider squad attack in her basic skill. Well, if I can find it, it's okay. Here we go, by 20%. So by honing, or by just the armament alone, I'm adding another 9%, which is 29%, just from the armament, not the honing. Okay, we haven't really got into that. Then we have another rider squad attack. We have a counter damage. This is obviously a superb armament here. So it's got the 3 basic added homes already for you. So we see that she skills and basic attack damage. So I included this aluminum case home, which also, it just decreases the basic attack damage. I'm so messed up today. I haven't had enough coffee. All right. Okay, so here we go. All right, it's the shoes. And as you can see, all 3 of these also are all rider squad attack. The gun, the case, and the shoes also have rider squad attack. Now, what we were saying earlier, the basic attack damage. Okay, we know Elena from her skills, she's a basic attack damage. So I included the spooky driving shoes, which gives me an extra 6% on top of the damage that I'm already doing from my squad, right? The counter damage taken, reduction of counter damage. I also have a counter damage taken, 75%, so I'm up to basically 14, on nearly 14%, reducing the counter damage here. And pants, increase in lethality, and more rider squad attack. So just so you know, hang on, let me go to the devices. We also have squad basic attack damage. Again, here we go. Coincides with that. That's 2%. Obviously, I have not upgraded the EM turret yet, but just with that, that's an extra 8.2% that I'm giving out as far as attack damage. And then obviously I run the war drone, which gives me defense and basic attack damage taken, which coincides with the case. Basic attack damage taken, so that's an extra 8% damage that I'm not receiving from a particular squad. Now, why is this important? Okay, so as we home, okay, as we know that she is not a garrison hero. Elena is a field hero. Now, I have seen people garrison with her. I have seen people rally with her, which is weird. I don't understand that because she's really not so much of a garrison or rally hero. She is a great field support hero, and I actually run her as a lead with Felix. So I guess it's really all about preference in the field as far as like which hero that you have leveled up, which armaments you already have on them, and which direction you're kind of going. I don't really think it matters because the assistant hero does not use a talent tree or armaments, so they're basically skill based anyways. The only hero that uses armaments, if you click this exclamation, that tells you right here is that the heroes can equip or manage armaments outside the heroes. The assistant hero armaments do not take effect. The same hero cannot equip multiple dices. So you see here, the assistant hero's armaments do not take effect. Their skills, their talent tree is the same thing. So when your assistant hero is with you, their talent tree is null and void. I think that I could have swore, I can't remember where I saw that, but I know that to be a fact. It could have been somewhere like asking the question or something like that to the bot. I think I read that in the bot. Sometimes the bot will tell you, or it could be, I can't remember where it was at, but I know the assistant does not use a talent tree or armaments. They only use these 4 skills and the awakened skill as an assistant. So Elena, there you go. She is a basic attack damage dealer. She is a rider squad attack. She also has her defensive stuff built into her. So it's not really big. Oh, that's another thing too. You got to pay attention here because she is a reduction in skill damage. Now, when you see this, you can see if you don't just check out the bottom or coincide the two. She says when receiving AoE damage, there's a 9% chance of reducing damage received by up to 40%. Okay, this effect can be triggered almost every 6 seconds. But if you look down at the bottom, that's only skill damage, reduction in skill damage. So we see that as a reduction in skill damage by 40%, which makes her super defensive, right? Now, I've tanked out with her before. I know riders particularly can be a little bit squishy. It can take a lot of damage and put a lot of heavily wounded in your hospital, which then in turn you got to turn around and heal them all. So being selective about your heroes is super important, but also having the right armaments on your heroes that are going to boost your rider skills or your hero's skills that's already built into them is going to increase your overall damage, performance, and everything that you use with your riders. Okay, so moving on here, let's just go check out Bella. We all know Bella is the damage dealer, right? As far as the heroes go, or she has been for so long. You know what I mean? But let's go have a look at her now. If we look at her first skill, she deals direct damage to target. Remember, this is the hero damage, the hero skill that she does when she skills out. Okay, now she collects rage to do that, but she was one of the fastest rage gaining heroes, which means she's going to skill out a lot, right? That's why everybody's loved Bella for so long, is because the amount of damage that she could do because she skilled up so fast. So let's move on. When not in battle, the rider squad travel increases by 30%, gains 150 rage when entering battle. So right there off the get-go, she's already jumping in and gaining a foothold above whoever she's fighting because of the increase in rage that she's gaining to skill faster. Travel speed will be reduced by 2% for 3 seconds when taking skill damage. Okay? Rider squad attack by 3% and deals 24% more damage to squads with shields. Okay, so we know right here, we see the first skill that comes up that we know that we can actually hone for, that we can actually increase, which is her rider squad attack. Okay, let's move on. When leading a rider squad, damage increased by 15%. Increased damage dealt to target squad by 12% when this remaining squad size is less than 30%. Okay, so now what we see here is an increase in damage. Now, how does that coincide with rider squad attack? Because we already know rider squad attack is going to increase your overall damage, right? But this is also an instance where you could use basic attack damage to increase the overall percentage in damage that she has on a baseline. So if we look at her armaments now, like I said, Elena's my number one rider right now. I've been running her mostly. I do run Bella in the field, but I pair her with Chasey. So let me have a look at the armaments here. Rider squad block, rider squad damage red. Okay, so I had to look this up. I had no idea what that rider squad meant. Now, see, what I took it as is that when you're fighting an enemy and they get in the red, you actually do more damage to them, but that's not so much the case. I actually had to pull this up earlier and to see in the chat bot what that actually meant. And the chat bot was kind of funny about like the rider squad red. Let me scroll back up in here, and I did this prior so I could show it for training purposes only. So basic attack damage reduction, damage red, means reducing the amount of damage your squad receives from normal basic attacks. This stat helps your squad take less damage from every basic attack, improving survivability and battles. Bang. Rider squad damage red is the exact opposite of that. So if you got the, let's go back, and if you are running this basic attack damage reduction, so if you have a basic attack damage included in that red, it basically means you're increasing the amount of damage your squad is doing from normal basic attacks. So it coincides with basic attack damage. Okay, so the higher the percentage of your basic attack damage, the higher the percentage of your rider squad attack, the more damage you're gonna do. Obviously, I mean that's how we're putting this together. All right, so we know Bella is a rider squad attack, and I put maybe basic attack damage. So particularly like what can we run with her to increase that? So really any armament that's going to be rider squad attack. As you see, I got more superbs on her because most of my other armaments are on Elena, but here you go with the shoes. The racing shoes gives me a rider squad attack increase. We have superb pants, rider squad attack shockproof case. And I'm not talking about the built-in hones, not the hones that I have currently honed in there. Let's see, rider squad block is always good. I have a reduction in skill damage. HP is super important too because it increases the overall health of your deployed squad when they're in the field. I also use the nano purifier, which is squad attack. Now, squad attack and rider squad attack are two different things. Squad attack is for the leader heroes. I think Harley Quinn covered that as well, and he's absolutely correct. Squad attack covers all squads. You want specific squads like I have honed here, which I have not got these to the elite hones yet. Like I said, I've been waiting for the rider TC to come around so I can do that. But as you can see, I do have some squad travel in there, which is important for riders because you want them to move quickly. And I have the um, Rider Squad Attack Hone, which the skill effect for this particular armament is increased basic attack damage by 7.5%. So I'm getting a basic attack damage increase um, on top of my Rider Squad Attack, so that is very useful. And then obviously squad defense, like again, this is an overall uh, this is an overall skill. Squad defense basically built in for leader heroes that command all troop types. So you're not going to get the max that you want out of squad attack or squad defense, because rider squad attack or rider squad defense is actually going to give you more percentage than squad defense or squad attack will. So in this particular one, I did go ahead and change it. I need to change that range squad attack. That is not good. I just see that. That was a huge mistake. Um, but this particular armor reduces counter damage taken by 5%, which is good because anytime you can reduce damage or block damage or have rider squad defense, including the less, the more damage you can absorb, obviously the better. Because, it doesn't do you much good that if you go out into the field and you do a ton of damage, but you take a ton of damage. So it's kind of like, you know, beating yourself up at the same time while you're in the fight. It just doesn't make any sense. Like, you gotta have some sort of balance. You can't be so top heavy that your hospital fills up because your troops get just busted up. So you gotta be able to stay in the fight. You gotta be able to be effective in the fight, and therefore the right armaments, the right hones on the right heroes is so crucial. And knowing the hero's strengths and what they're good at, knowing which ones you're going to have in the lead and which ones you're going to have an assistant is so important to know before you deploy your troops. Let's go Chasey. Chasey is a good one because we know Chasey is more of a garrison hero. Bang, let's jump into here. Now I'm in the process of getting her super weapon and doing her transcend. So, but let's go ahead and have a look at her from a basic standpoint. So, basic standpoint here is that we see that Chasey has an increased basic attack damage by 290%. Now that's her personal skill. Her basic attack damage is 290% for her personal skill. Now, if Garrison at this time reduces the skill damage from range squads by 17%. So she increases basic attack damage for your squad by 290%. Now this is huge. So the EM turret or the spooky driver shoes are going to increase that even more if you have those particular armaments, and I'll show you those here in just a moment. Okay, so we know from her skills, she is an increase in basic attack damage. That is the basic attack percent damage that your overall squad will do. Increase rider squad HP by 30%. So we know that right now this is a particular percentage in HP, rider squad HP, that can be included in the armament hones that are built into them. So we like the jackets and stuff like that have rider squad HP or squad HP, and then we have the Octa Camo Net, which also includes HP. We have a reduction in skill damage. Now, we've seen some armaments have the built-in reduction in skill damage. So we want to be looking for these types of things to make her more effective and for what we're using her for. The third skill, increased basic attack damage by 46%. So again, here we go. Basic attack damage, overall squad damage, right? The overall basic attack damage that your squad's going to do on the percentage base. If inflicted with silence, with 50% chance to deal one additional basic attack per turn and the duration of the effect. These basic attacks grant 20 range. So I pair her with Bella because Bella gains rage fast and they skill a lot faster. Now that Bella and Chasey does pretty good damage. They can be a little bit squishy at times, but they do really good damage, especially in the flank. They're brutal in the flank. So we see the basic attack damage right here. Let's go on to the next skill. Rider squad attack. Here we go. When garrisoned. Now pay attention to that. When she's garrisoned, you gain the 32% in rider squad attack. Don't get that messed up. That's not rider squad attack in the field. It specifically says when she's garrisoned. Okay? During this period, basic attacks Here's your another basic attack now. Have a 10% chance to deal damage. A damage factor of 1800 to up to 3 units in a fan-shaped area. This effect can be triggered only once in 6 seconds. So her basic attack is insane. Like, that's the overall percentage increase that your squad is, like, from the base attack. So she's increasing all of the base attacks, and then if you add Rider Squad attack on top of that, that's obviously going to increase the amount of damage that she's going to do, because you're increasing the percentage, and now you're increasing the overall damage done by Rider Squad attack. Okay. Now that we've covered her skills, we see that her basic skills is basic attack damage, Rider Squad HP, and Rider Squad attack only when garrisoned, right? Okay, so now you're going to see how I got her built, because I run her as an assistant to Bella. I also run her as the leading garrison. So therefore, since I run her as an assistant to Bella, her armaments don't matter. Like, I don't have to take them off. I can skill them and level them up just for garrison and just leave them on. So if I have to switch her, I don't have to switch armaments. So let's get into this. Now, as we go through this, you'll see that I have her skilled up more for defense, because she's obviously a garrison. I want to hold that garrison as long as possible. Just people can eventually. Sometimes a good defense is your best offense. So it's not so much about trying to kill the rally so fast, but just outlast it. I mean, the rally's going to take damage anyways. So just being able to outlast and hold that tower longer or checkpoint longer is going to help your overall team. So you want defense, you want to be able to make sure that you're taking less damage, less heavily wounded, also trying to deal some damage. Now, I will increase her attack, Rider Squad attack eventually, just to help on the garrison stuff. But as you can see, if you're looking across here, my lethality is really high. Rider Squad block is pretty decently high, and also the garrison stuff, the garrison basic attack damage, which basically includes her basic attack damage that she does anyways, the garrison counter damage, garrison attack, and garrison skill damage. Now let's go look at her armaments and see how I got her rigged up. Okay, Rider Squad block. I'm reducing the amount of heavily wounded damage that I'm taking. I also have the Rider Squad defense. I'm using the biker helmet. If you look at the homes, Rider Squad block, Rider Squad defense, garrison skill damage, Rider Squad lethality. So I'm building her more for a defensive base, but on the garrison side of the attack here, because that's basically her main role. Okay. Rider Squad attack, Rider Squad lethality, the boots, basic attack damage. So she's already a basic attack hero, skill damage dealer, right? We see that in her skills I showed you guys. So I increased her squad basic attack damage another by 6% on top of whatever she's already skilled out to do. Okay, so she's going to do more damage. We have the pants, more lethality, more Rider Squad attack. The polycarbonate case is squad counter damage, but I took it for the Rider Squad defense. The squad counter damage is just a bonus on top of that. And then we have the vest, which is Rider Squad block and Rider Squad defense. Now, typically I would want probably this armament, the Frenzy Windbreaker, because it's going to reduce the skill damage and also give me the HP. But later on, when I start building more armaments and stuff like that, I can probably build her a jacket for HP, because it's going to help her in the long run. But to compensate for that, I'm building her an optic camo net, which gives me skill damage taken for her troops, so more damage reduction, but also gives me more HP, which increases the health of my overall garrison or troops. As you can see, I have her skilled or honed for garrison attack, and then I run the war drone, which gives me the basic attack damage taken. So I'm removing 1.8% from the attacker, and then on his overall damage. And then I got a squad defense, which, now remember, like I said, squad attack, squad defense, or for later skill based. But since she is a garrison, and sometimes the garrisons can be mixed troops, it will cover the mixed troops thing. So squad lethality as well, and garrison counter damage. So as you see, she's built for garrison, and there's nothing wrong with that. Just it really, like I said, it all depends on how you particularly like to run your squads. So like I said, I run the Bella and Chasey squad. I can show you that right here. I create squad. I have them in my presets. There we go. I run the Bella and Chasey. Now, like I come down here, um, decent Rider squad attack percentage here, decent Rider squad defense, and okay Rider squad HP. Their speed isn't like nothing to like scream about, but at the end of the day, some people will say, "Oh, well, I'll trade speed for damage." You know what I mean? But or excuse me, oh yeah, they'll trade speed for damage, or they'll trade damage for speed. And sometimes I don't know if that's really good, because it doesn't really matter how fast you. I mean, yeah, speed helps get to where you want to go and helps you in the battle. But at the end of the day, when you're in the battle, speed ain't gonna help you much. When you're in a swarm, or you're fighting in a swarm, or you're fighting a large battle, it's you. I'll take the attack and defense over speed all day. I don't care. Rider squads are usually fast anyways, and you can hone for the speed as much as you need. But I'm never gonna give up lethality or rider squad block for any kind of speed. Like those are essential. The idea behind that is to reduce the amount of heavily wounded, therefore reducing my heal times. That means I can stay in the fight longer and stay in the battle longer. Okay. Let me see. So as you can see, travel speed 74%. Um, Rider squad travel speed is 98%. So at the end of the day, you see the Rider squad lethality and the Rider squad block. I could probably add a little bit more block to that, because I particularly like that to be a little higher, because I don't know how that works. Okay. Uh, that works as like the higher the higher your lethality is over someone's block, the more damage you do on the back end. Okay, so it increases your overall damage, especially if, like I said, your lethality is higher than the person you're fighting's block. Now my block's kind of low, so it's kind of a give and take. So it's like I'm gonna receive damage, but I'm also gonna do damage too. I believe that whole thing. Oh, here you go. When you put them together, two heroes are deployed. All leader and assistant skills will take effect, but assistant talents will not take effect. So there you go. Talents don't matter. I have Chasey talented for garrison, right? The assistant rage skill will activate immediately after the leader's rage skill. Okay, the assistant will gain the same amount of AXP as the leader. The assistant armaments will not take effect. The assistant's tactical team will not take effect. So there you go. The assistant's uh, heroes, the assistant hero, armaments, and talent tree do not take effect at all. Only the 5 skills that you have built into your heroes that you level up with the golden frags, the legendary golden frags, these things right here, is the only thing that your assistant will use when paired with a leader hero. Just so we're clear on that. So that's Elena, Chasey, and Bella. If you want to look at her, I don't know how many people, what you want to call her, but she's a great hero. She's a damage dealing hero. A lot of people use her, and I think she's kind of I don't know if I want to say she's becoming obsolete. I mean, she's got her perks. I guess she depends on what you're using her for. The only drawback is that she takes, um, extra damage from infantry squads, and I'm drinking my coffee here, so I had to get some coffee before I started all this. Yeah. So, but for all intents and purposes, I don't use her. It's just, for me personally, I don't really have a need for her. I might throw her in as an assistant somewhere. It just depends on what I'm doing, or if I'm just trying some things out. But we can have a look at her if you want. So we see that she does pretty decent looking damage for her direct damage. Okay, so she deals a scorch damage up to 2 enemies in a fan-shaped area in front every second. the damage factor is 4,500. It reduces their travel speed. Now, that's really, you would think like 4,500 is really nothing to really scream about, right? It's really not as far as like her skill. But it says in front for every second. So how long is that? I mean, what's the duration? It doesn't really say unless it's really like, unless it's 3 seconds, along with that case. So 3 seconds, you're looking at 3 times 4 is 12. So she's probably, if that's the case, if we're doing it by 3 seconds, that's 12, 12,000, 13,500 that she's doing for 3 seconds total. Let's see. Okay, here you go. She does increase Rider Squad HP, but as you run an assistant, she could help your overall HP, your squad HP. If you have, if you're, like I said, if you were running it with like a Chasey, because Chasey has the Rider Squad HP built in, therefore you could, like I said, if you're running the Frenzy Windbreaker on on Chasey, that's going to also increase your HP. Then you have an increase in basic attack damage. Now, if I was going to pair anybody with May, it would probably be Chasey, because Chasey does have the basic attack damage increase all through her skills. If you have her honed and skilled out for it, you're going to get an extra 33% on top of that just from May, just in her second skill. Here you go. She has a Rider Squad attack increase. So if I was going to equip her, hone her out, it's Rider Squad attack is going to be the basic thing that I'm looking for here. We also have another Rider Squad attack by 30%. After leaving battle, increases Rider Squad travel speed. So she's got, looks like, up to 60% extra in Rider Squad attack. And her awakening skill, I think, is the last skill. So when you awaken her, that increases by 30%. So, oops. Let's see. Yep. So you got a 60% increase in Rider Squad attack. You also have the basic 33% in a basic attack damage. So you're increasing the basic baseline percentage with the basic attack damage. And then you have the increased percentage with Rider Squad attack on top of it. Chasey and May do pretty good damage. Okay, now I've seen it, I've tried it, but they're just not there where I want them to be on defense. They fill your hospital up so stinking quick that it's like depressing that you go out and want to fight, but then you got 80,000 Rider Squad troops to heal, just from one fighter, or 120, so it's like, that's counterproductive, really. I mean, the idea is to, sure, do a lot of damage, but I don't want to be healing 180,000 rider troops. It's just not after one battle. That's just, to me, that just didn't make any sense. So it's, like I said, it's give or take. It depends on what you want to do, what your objective is, and how you want to control the battlefield when you're fighting. Let's look at some other ones. We got Catherine and Cynthia here. Where are they at? I can't keep up with them very well. Okay, Catherine. Obviously, we could look at her skills and know that she's mainly a zombie hunter. Now, I do know, like, when you get the skins, which I don't have, okay, it increase her damage factor, and it gives her a little bit more stuff, like HP. You got some Rider Squad travel, Rider Squad attack by 25%, increased Rider Squad attack. What else? A little bit like the damage reduction. I would say that's probably one of the best skills that they added for her as far as the new skill is the damage reduction. But I'm really not going to go into Catherine and Cynthia all that much, because they're really not that important like they used to be. Like when we started out early in the game, everybody used Catherine and Cynthia basically because that's all we had. But this day and age, we have so many more heroes. I do have almost every hero except for the range, because I'm not really a range guy, but more infantry rider. Felix, I run him as an assistant to Elena. He's not quite awakened yet. I'm waiting, like I said, I'm waiting to the Rider TC to awaken him, so he will be awakened soon. But looking at his skills, you can see I got him wrote down so I can tell you right off the top. He's a basic attack damage guy, counter damage reduction, and rider squad attack, and squad attack, which particularly you see people um, using him in garrison. Now the squad attack's only going to take effect if like he's the lead in the garrison and you're running Chasey behind him. But most people don't do that. People run Chasey and then they run Felix on the back end. So squad attack really is not so much. I mean, you get some squad attack if you're going to run it in the field, but you're not. You're getting. To me personally, I think you're just getting a reduction when you do that. I mean, it's rider squad attack. You're getting 32% squad attack. You're getting an extra increases on squad attack by 16%, which covers all basic troops. So yeah, you might be getting some extra. You might be getting what 48 total on your rider squad attack, but I don't know how those two exist together at the same time. If one covers all troops and one covers troop specific, is that 16% added on top of the 32%, or is it something totally separate? But I don't know that. I can't answer that question, so I'm just going to leave that alone and move on. So Felix is a great hero. I mean, he's got the increase in damage, the basic attacks, the basic attack damage that he's going to do. He also reduces the counter damage, which also makes him really good paired with Elena because they are both defensive, but they also can do some massive amounts of damage together as well. So usually when I'm in the field and I'm running that Elena Felix mix, they people usually go right after them because like the whole Julia and Sophia thing where people will see that pairing and then they'll immediately go after it because they know they do a lot of damage. So you want to get rid of that particular hero quickly if all possible. But the basic gist is look at your heroes and look at what skills they do. Hang on, let me go back to Felix here. So like I said, Felix, and there's just one thing I wanted to cover. I'm going to show you this real quick. So his basic attack damage. Okay, I don't know if I showed you guys this, but let me look at the armaments here. Now, I'm still building armament sets. I do have a maxed out IE augmenter that's on my Mayumoto, which really and truly should probably be on my Bella, because increases attack for you and nearby allies for 15% after using a skill. Because the Bella's going to skill faster than any of them that are on the field. So if I had her on Bella and I had it honed for Bella, she would probably be more effective in the field if I was field fighting with her basically boosting the rest of my squads. Okay, so because she's going to increase the attack for you and nearby allies up to 15% after using a skill. So lasts of 3 seconds, affects up to 3 squads. So maybe particularly it will probably be a better skill for Bella, or better armament for Bella, knowing that her rage recovers quickly. So, but I have it on my Mayumoto. But we'll just look at this. This is just for training purposes only, and just for education purposes only. So the EM turret would be really good for Mr. Felix here because it's going to increase his squad's basic attack damage. You see that because we already know that he does basic attack damage. So I would want to run my EM turret. What else? I mean, the spooky driving shoes. Okay, basic attack damage. So it doesn't matter if it's the elite or if I'm running the spooky driving shoes. I don't know. Or the racing shoes. Now this other one is, that looks like pretty much all the shoes will increase basic attack damage. So any shoes that you want, this is going to help you because he does rider squad attack. So the racing shoes probably would be the ideal pair for him. But he also does counter damage reduction. So here you go. This is like a catch-22 of what do you want. And then this one covers all 3 of his skills. Squad basic attack, counter damage taken, counter damage reduction, right? 6%. And then he also covers rider squad attack. So the spooky driving shoes is a great armament for Felix because it covers 3 of his 4 main built-in skills, which is basic attack damage, counter damage reduction, rider squad attack, and squad attack, which you probably won't ever use pretty much a squad attack. It's just kind of built in there. So like I said, I don't really understand that too much, but I guess it is what it is. In just going on with however you want to build your heroes, but making sure that you put the right armaments on your heroes as a baseline. Then you can hone your armaments for the correct things for your heroes. And like I said, like the the lethality is super important, and squad block is just as important. You don't want to be out there with like 10,000 lethality and no block, because you're not blocking any. Yeah, you're doing a lot of damage, but now you're taking a lot of damage too. So, especially when you start fighting wells and people with that are really strong, that's got a lot of attack damage. I mean, I've noticed it too. It's like, yeah, I do a significant amount of damage, but sometimes I do take a lot of damage. It just depends on the person that I'm fighting and how they're equipped. Uh, Depends on their vehicles, their equipment, and stuff like that. And armaments, if they're all superb, they're all red honed out. You know, I've taken my share of butt whoopings before, so I'm not immune to it, regardless of how I got my team built or not. So we've all taken our butt whoopings, but like I always tell people, especially in my alliance, there's always going to be somebody out there stronger than you. So it's just trying to mitigate the amount of damage that you're taking, so your damage output can be greater than your damage received. That's at the end of the day, that's what you want. So the more you can stay in the fight, the more effective you are for your team, the more of a teammate you can be, because you can be out there in the field leading, whether if it's field fighting, rallying, garrisoning, supporting, however it is that you help with your team. So um, just really pretty much covers the writer stuff. I'm not going to really go into like a whole lot of the pairings, because everybody's kind of different on their pairings, but it just depends on you and how you want to set your stuff up. And I think at the end of the day, that's really what's important. How you set it up, what you run in the field is all preference, and if you're happy with it and it's comfortable for you, then that's good. But today's basic objective was just to make sure that you're getting the most out of your heroes. Don't be leaving stuff on the table. Like I had that one little mistake where I left that one hone out. Harley Quinn covered the same thing. Don't put hones in there that aren't going to benefit your heroes, your squads, in any way. Like, make sure it's always troop specific. Since we're doing riders today, rider squad attack, rider squad defense, rider squad lethality, rider squad block. And like I said, here's your, if we go in here, you can see it. I will show you. Go to manage. Again, hone attributes. Here we go. Rider squad attack, rider squad defense, rider squad lethality, rider squad block. Those are the troop specific ones that you really want to aim for. Okay, and just make sure you're paying attention to what you're doing. Now, let me cover this too, and I'm gonna have to get off the video. So, as you see, I got some purple homes here. Now, people will do the purple homes, but they'll just leave them for whatever. No, don't do that. Go ahead and hone it. Try to get the highest hone you can, which is 2% on rider squad attack, right, for an elite hone. Go ahead and try to get the highest one that you can, okay, and then move on. Like what I like to do is like if I'm honing that one, since I got it at 2%, right, what I'll do is like I'll move through them. Like, see, here's another 2%, but it was probably like 1.3% at one time. So once I get one high, like say if it was at 1.2%, and then I was honing, and bam, I got like 1.8, right? Cool. I'll just leave it right there. I'll take it. I'll pop it in, and then move on to the next slowest one. Like maybe it was rider squad defense was like at 1%, right? And now I'm going to increase it, right, to get it higher. I just did the attack and got it to 1.8. I'm going to come over here and jump to rider squad defense and try to get it high. I start honing it, ding, ding, ding. We all know how long that takes. Hopefully you get a rider squad hone, and bang, you hit a rider squad defense for like 1.8. Okay, so I lock it in. I went from 1% up to 1.8%. Now that's your preference. If you have the extra hones and you want to go back to the Rider Squad attack, and you know that like the only thing you can do is 1.9 or 2%. So start going for it. See what happens. So that's how I got mine up to 2%. Just try to get them as high as you can. Now, some people will tell you, don't worry about honing it. Just do it, because at the end of the day, personally, that's what I'm saying. Is just do it, because at the end of the day, what matters is that percentage right there. Rider Squad attack is 51%. My defense is 28. The lethality is 544. Squad block is 452. Now you can see why she does a lot of damage, and she is one of my strongest heroes in the field. She is feared in the field. Basic attack damage taken, negative 17%. So I'm reducing the person that I'm fighting attack damage basic off the rip by 17%. Dang near 20% of the damage that they have already calculated into their particular hero and squad. I'm taking 20% of that away immediately. And then on top of that, I got the block, and then my defense is going to even reduce the damage that's coming in even more. So I got some squad travel, sure, counter damage taken. So she's kind of tanky in the field, especially paired with Felix. I mean, so it's not a bad thing. Like the EM turret's great because it reduces the current, or not, excuse me, the war drone. I reduce the current target's defense by 12% after every skill. So I mean, it's kind of like she's kicking you when you're down, and she keeps kicking you. And if they don't just gang up on her, 9 times out of 10, I win that match, pretty much. Unless the other guy that I'm fighting is just brutally strong. There's just nothing I can do about it. So, at the end of the day, it's give and take. I used to tell people all that all the time. It's give and take. You just got to mitigate it the best you can and try to manage the best you can. But you can mitigate a lot of that by making sure that your heroes are built correctly, talented correctly, equipped correctly, and honed correctly. So I'm not going to get into equipment, because that also plays a big part in that. The vehicle upgrades, the tier 3 blueprint upgrades plays a big part in all of that too. But you can compensate for like low parts with a high vehicle, and vice versa, high vehicle, low parts. But if you're already equipping your heroes with junk and you're not honing correctly, then you're already put them at a disadvantage. It doesn't matter what your vehicle and your equipment is. So don't take away from your heroes when you can make them better all the time. I tell people, you're doing it wrong. You're doing it wrong. And it's so funny. It's just like I feel like I'm like I try to teach my kids, how to do this, but it's all good, because if you see the discrepancy, you never say anything, especially as an R5, then you're not helping your team. So you always want to make sure that everybody is squeezing the most they can out of every squad and every hero, so that when the battles happen and the big squad fights happen, that you're effective and that you can be what people need you to be out in the field. And so I think that pretty much covers it for Rider Squads. I hope you guys enjoyed the little tutorial. I'm not, really big on doing these types of things, so it's just not my thing. But I felt like it was necessary, because I had a lot of people asking me, hey, do a video, because I do have some international players in my alliance that don't speak English, so it's hard to just do like a live Discord video for my team, or try to explain it all in chat when I can do a video if they're like Italian, French, Russian, or whatever the case might be. They can change the subtitles on YouTube, and I think it does a pretty good job of translating, but at least they can be able to get the gist of what I'm trying to say. So, at the end of the day, I just hope it helps everybody out. It kind of gives you some insight. Like I said, this is the Rider one. I'm going to go ahead and do an infantry and a range one. We'll go over the main infantry heroes that people are using today and make sure you're honing and arming them correctly, including range as well. So anyhow, hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you liked the content and you found it useful, give a good follow, give a comment, do a shout out to your buddy. It doesn't matter. To me, it's not about like producing content for to make money. I produce the content because people ask me to do it, and it's fun, so I get to learn something in the process, and then I get to teach somebody else. So anyhow, hope you guys enjoyed it, and keep kicking butt out there in Doomsday. Maybe we'll come across each other, and if you happen to see me, come by, say hi, and until then, you guys take care and have a great day. Later.